Alright, what's up? We are back. So I guess today, Diamond 3, at least towards this half of Diamond 3, we'll maybe start migrating a little bit more and scouting a little bit more. We kind of were doing that towards the end of the stream last time. Maybe it's kind of what we need to start doing now in Diamond. It's working a little bit of micro, a little bit of scouting. Hopefully we can get to Diamond 2 today. I think it was like 3,500, so that's 120 points, which could be 10 games. So we've been averaging at least 10 games a night, so depends on how many losses we get. Because the nice thing about scouting was kind of what I was thinking about like last time was might be nice to start reacting to some of those one base Zergs and Terrans and kind of maybe do a little bit better of a cannon rush defense and stuff. So I know it's frustrating for a lot of people. And at these levels, like all the cheeses are so unoptimized that I could probably defend them pretty casually. And it's really nice to see like you're never as far behind as you think you are in the game. In PvP, I'm gonna recommend like scouting after Pylon for pretty much ever until you get to like maybe Masters 1. Because even in Masters 1, I personally like to scout after Pylon. So what I'm kind of doing here is I'm making sure I have enough probes. That way I don't have to worry about probes while I'm building this. I'm also kind of looking at the mini-map. Click over here, look at the mini-map, make a probe, look at the mini-map, get us a chrono boost, look at the mini-map, make a probe, you know. And it's good to kind of say these things, like look at the mini-map. I don't see any wall off over here. It's usually kind of makes me think of Cannon Rush, right? So I don't see the wall off, so that means I kind of want to look over here. But we see the gases. Additionally, you can kind of guesstimate a Cannon Rush too if you see like something like this and no gases. No, it's like, okay, well that's probably a Cannon Rush. So you can kind of get that information without even necessarily looking too hard. Now usually I want you guys to make this Cybercore on time, but we'll just show you that like at these lower levels it doesn't matter too much. Your timings, like timings are important. The better times you have, it's going to carry you to a lot more victories. But attack here. And it's always nice to put your weaker probe into the gas, because then it's kind of shielded for some amount of time. We're gonna take this probe down here a little bit early, you know, why not? More important to get these pylons on time than it is to get this tiny bit of extra minerals. And then we'll go ahead and build the pylon. I like to build a little bit more recessed back. And we're just gonna be focused on like strong openings. I'm not going to try and get like every little bit of minerals by trying to get our nexus down as fast as possible. So 2 sentries. These are go 2 sentries. I like to go 2 sentries, and you see it a lot after 2 stalkers. Is so that way you can get stuff like the shield battery down pretty early. I have 20 here. So usually when you're 3-3-20 and you're going for a slower expand, you want to skip probes after 20 because this will still provide you income. 21 will not. And then cutting probes will let you get this nexus. Then we can start making probes again. Like a good general rule of thumb is that you can cut a unit to make a building that produces that unit and usually be pretty okay. We'll take this 20th guy out. Because making this faster by cutting probes, when this finishes, you'll be able to make probes faster, so it kind of like makes up for itself. Right. And I'm kind of like looking at the mini map a little bit. You don't see much, but it's good practice. I'm checking the status of these things, right? Watching my money go up. Make the next building that we want to make. Right. Make sure I keep having probes. We're saving Chrono for our timing attack. You can go ahead and make a dude, and then it's really important you want to like warp in a couple more units here because there could be, you know, a nice attack timing. You want to make sure you have as much units as possible to survive any kind of early attacks. And next is about finished, so I'll bring 4 guys over here. You see he's got an expansion, right? So the expansion tells me that we're probably okay to go for Robo. I'll go for Immortal Observer. We'll get that. He's gonna go for the Observers because I don't know if he's gonna rush DTs or not. But we'll just use this timing until DTs show up a lot faster than we expect. Place out these pylons. And then we see we actually have our maximum amount, so we don't need to produce anymore. Get that with the Chrono. And then we'll start going for our whole bunch of gateways. So we want 8. We also want to put a gateway up here to make this a fast warp in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get this Robo guy going. We have 7. This is a slow pylon, so we'll bring 1 more over here and make this an 8. Then we put our maximum stuff here, and we can go for our Twilight Archives. We have our 2 sentries, which is pretty good, and we probably want like at least a backup pylon guarding over here. So warp in a couple of zealots and the fast warp in. We'll kind of start heading towards our scouting location. If you want to be extra safe, you can go ahead and make Phoenix to send this forward. Right. And then because we want to attack, remember, we're making our 3 pylons. These are our attacking pylons. And we'll make 1 observer for safety against DTs. Right. We can scout and make sure that everything is safe. Right, we can see he's got this army here. And the only question we need to ask him is like, is his macro, does he have enough production? We'll make 1 Archon here. Does he have enough production to keep up with us? We'll go ahead and take a moment to warp in 3 more pylons. And we probably don't have to worry about pylons for a while. And it's nice to have at least 1 Archon. Maybe we'll take our Zealots a little bit forward. Right, okay, and here's our final warp in. Get that Guardian Shield. And we'll just attack here like this. Everything's looking pretty good. Everything's just dying with pretty much no need to micro this fight at all. Right. If you want, you can select these guys to kind of go towards the dude, but we didn't really need that. Our production was just too strong because we had plenty of gateways. We invested a lot into a tech, 100 APM. And then it's good practice to go here and say, like, what did we fight against? It was PvP, we won, and it was against this kind of a macro Colossus. And we head into the next game. Like I said, it is a really good habit to label your replays, so that way you can see trends, you can figure out what the meta is like, what people are doing against you, what you struggle against. Let's come up with whatever system works best for you. Like maybe you don't label all your wins, maybe you only care about labeling your losses, right? Maybe use an Excel sheet. When you treat the game as when you treat the game as kind of like a math problem or a project, instead of just hitting the play button, it makes it for me anyway, in my opinion, it makes it really easy to not be upset when you lose, because you're like, okay, I lost to this, and then you're like excited, you become maybe a little bit more excited or eager to like figure out like how common is this, like what's similar in these play styles. And it's really good if you're losing against a specific player who does a specific build, that's just always beating you, like a Roach Rush or whatever. That's like the perfect person to like try and become friends with them, right? Don't hate the person for doing the build. Be friends with them and ask them like, can you help me practice against that build, right? See, I saw something over here look like a drone heading out this way, so it could be, some sort of proxy or whatever. But that's why we kind of look at the mini map. But yeah, it's like those are perfect practice partners. Okay, here's the drone that is just a drone scout. We'll go ahead and make a probe, send that into gas. I key my next eye, then we'll make this thing. We'll make a gas. Right, he wants to attack me. Maybe we'll attack him. Right, he just donated a free drone to us. Not too bad. We'll make our pylon. We don't get supply block. You might be tempted to chrono boost, but that would supply block us because this pylon's not down. That's why we can't really afford it. Go ahead and make this adept. Give that a chrono boost because there could be lings that come across the map pretty quick. We don't know his exact spawning pool timing, so it's all just kind of good habits heading here. We'll go ahead and make our wall off. Go ahead and make this stalker. And we'll go ahead and hit this chrono boost with the stalker. Send these guys back. Because that way, if something comes in our base, we could chase it down, but it also gives us a little bit more strength against something weird that happens, like a bunch of Zerglings coming in or whatnot. Alright, put the stalker in the wall to protect us against banelings. Make sure this is in range of the stalker. Now we have a time to build stuff because our probes are being built. So we'll just go ahead and throw down this robo, do up a couple more probes. Maybe rally this probe to build our Twilight Council. Build a couple more probes, right? We're going to be supply blocked, so usually after we put our tech, we put down like 2 pylons. We'll spread them out so we can see any overlords coming in. It also gives us a forewarning if he does like a Zergling overlord drop. Key our robo. We notice that we're at 13, so I only need to make this one more probe. We see this guy come in, that's fine. We don't care if he scouts us. We don't want to be baited out of place for potential banelings. As he could send this in, and then when we bring the stalker, he can crash some banelings into us. Go ahead and do this. If we really want, if he's going to bring that in, we can always just warp in. We can warp in some stalkers to take care of it. It'll delay our build a tiny bit, but like I said, our attack timing is on the robo. So it doesn't matter if our gateways are a little bit late. They'll still be fine, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a probe somewhere. I don't know where he is, but bam, bam. We'll get these. We'll warp in 2 sentries to charge up their energy. We'll make the warp prism. we'll go ahead and begin our 3 pylons. So we don't have to worry about those when we attack. We can make our final tech, which will either be DTs or Twilight. You guys can mix these up, or Templar Archives, and mix them up however you like. Give this a Chrono Boost. Give it a Observer. And you can go ahead and pre-make this one, which is something that I kind of like to do a little bit, because the mineral cost is not that high. And we'll just kind of head towards a good staging location. After our first big warp in, we're going to warp in our last set of 3 pylons. And then we can take 2. I can take 2 guys to put them on gas, because this will eventually like get low on minerals, or you know. So this will just kind of curve out our stuff. You can see like those pylons kind of finishing in a good amount of time. Alright, and then we'll just hit the Guardian Shield, and we'll just kind of go in and maybe into the natural. We can put like maybe try to aim like some force fields here. Kind of trap them into the kill zone. Make a couple Archons. Kind of bring these guys in. Right. Make sure these guys are more closer to the units. And just kind of bring these guys in. The advantage you guys have at the lower level is that good game. Is that the opponents don't really know how to scout 2 base all-ins. And all you need to know when you're doing a 2 base all-in, no matter what race you're playing, is what your maximum production should be for your 2 bases. Like, it's like 8 gateways for Protoss typically. Sometimes it's 7 depending on what you're making. For Terran, it's usually like 5 barracks and a starport with a reactor. You know, with Zerg, it's like 3 or 4 bases, or 3 or 4 hatcheries, right? and with Zerg, you usually stop at a certain amount of drones. Usually it's like 36 to 44, and then you just begin the unit production. And if the opponent doesn't know your 2 base on any of them, doesn't matter what the matchup is, Zerg versus Protoss, Zerg versus Terran, and so on, then they're not going to be able to equalize your production, right? Zerg is probably a little bit easier to equalize production because, you know, it's hatcheries, you make them anyway. But for like Terran, you know, they might not make extra gateways or extra units while they're expanding. They might cut units to expand, and if you're not cutting units and you're hitting them with maximum production and they're caught cutting units or whatever, especially if they move their army in like a non-optimal location, and you just pretty much get easy wins like this, right? Like, he reacted maybe a little bit too late to the all-in, so he just didn't have enough army to defend. Like, where if he would have reacted earlier, he would have had maybe enough army to defend, you know. And then that's one, and you want to attack into everything. You want to attack into opponents who make enough, and you want to attack into opponents who don't make enough. Because what your goal is as a 2 base all-in player, now, or as a person that's practicing the 2 base all-in, is your goal is to figure out, what can I see? Like, how much army do I need to see to abandon my 2 base all-in, right? Like, how do I know I can take the fight? And the only way you can know if you can win the fight or not is to lose, right? You have to be willing to lose to people who are ready for you. And you have to be willing to lose a bunch of times, because it could be the case that a person who defended, you know, should not have been able to defend with their units, right? Like, maybe if you attacked a little bit better, You know, maybe use a force field like a little bit better. You know, maybe do a little bit of anti-micro. Like maybe you could have used the warp prism to protect an immortal or something. Like it could be the case that if you micro just a tiny bit better, that it is impossible for them to defend with the units that they have, right? But you can't just accept one loss, or you just can't take like one loss and just be like, well, this build is never going to work because this one guy defended perfectly, right? You want to make sure that if the opponent is able to defend, that there's nothing you could have done better. And then that becomes like, okay, well, that's my data point where if I see this, I know there's nothing I can do to defend, or I mean, to execute an attack. So if I see this, I'm just going to ban an attack. Instead of warping in those extra zealots, I'm just going to expand, right? So my all-in turned into like, okay, I'm threatening the all-in, and then you cause a reaction from the opponent, right? The opponent's waiting for your all-in. Maybe he's making units, he's not making drones, but you just expand, right? And then you're not behind anymore, because for him to defend your all-in, he had to cut workers like Terran, Protoss, and Zerg. You know, to defend a 2-base all-in, usually you have to cut workers to do it, right? And it, you know, they might not cut as much, but you're not like super far behind. You're not as far behind as you might think you are. And then it could be like, well, I have a warp prism, so maybe I can use that warp prism for harassment, right? And then that warp prism can also help you bridge the gap where, let's say, maybe they do have more workers and they're able to defend. Now you can use that warp prism to help stabilize. That warp prism can help you to maybe get an advantage too, right? So depending on how many units you kill with that warp prism or that oracle or whatever your tech choice may be, right? So the build order is going to look very samey, right? And I'm doing the same build order over and over again, so you guys can see that, you know, you don't need a super varied build order. You know, like I'm not stressing out that he's scouting, because there's two things your opponent needs to prove to you. One is that he knows what to do with this scout information. He's looking at this, right? Does he even know what he's looking for? Does he even know what's happening right now? Right? Does he even know it's a 2-base all-in right now? All he knows is that it's a Twilight opener. And if he was astute enough, he would know that, you know, that this Twilight is a little bit late. But does he even know that this Twilight is late? Does he even know that it's a Robo first opener? You know, he might just look at this and say like, oh, it's a Twilight first opener, right? He might be thinking that it's an Adept opener, so he's making a bunch of roaches, and these immortals are going to eat those roaches up. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, right? 8. We have our 8. Now we can go ahead. Oh yeah, we want to warp in a couple sentries to build up that energy. I think I'm a little bit late on warping those guys in. I'm gonna drop our 1 chrono on this. You know, go ahead and make that warp prism. Go ahead and make 3 pylons, because we're gonna attack soon. Get this sentry. Alright, I made this observer. He knows it is a robo attack now, but he doesn't know how many gateways we're on, right? Go ahead and make this, and we'll put like 2 little guys on here. And that chrono boost going. Rally this guy. Put him into the wall. And we'll just head across the map to like a good staging location, like probably something like this. Do a nice good warp in. Now's our big warp in. We'll do 1, 2, 3. Send us here. We can warp in a little bit outside of creep. Wait for our zealots to catch up. And it should look exactly like the previous game. Pop a little Guardian Shield. Maybe clear a little creep on our way in. Bring this a little bit closer. Maybe hit like a couple force fields here. And just warp in some more units. Did I make the archives? I didn't make the archives. Oh well. He was probably preparing for Adepts, and we show up with Immortals, right? Like, people at this level are not good enough to know what they're scouting, so you don't have to sweat about scouting. Maybe when we get to like Masters 2, we'll try harder to hide our build. So, performance, still, we're like a third of the APM of the opponent, right? We have more unspent resources. If I was a Zerg player, those force fields would make me. Well, that's pretty much been every Zerg since the beta of StarCraft 2. Like, Zergs have been complaining. That's why the Ravager exists. The Ravager exists purely because Zergs cried about force fields. I used to have some pretty sick plays back in Heart of the Swarm. Because they used to make a lot of Banelings, and I could force field circles around the Banelings. So that, you know, they would do like literally nothing. You can still do that now, but the creep mechanic's a little bit stronger, a little bit harder to force field circles around Banelings. This was just a win macro, just standard macro. Another PVZ win macro, say 1. Oh no, wait, I want to keep the name. PVZ win macro 1. The reason why you want to also keep the map name is because you might notice certain things, like maybe it's only on Equilibrium that Zergs are doing a specific strategy, right? And that can be what you can use to metagame Equilibrium. It's like, maybe Equilibrium, every Zerg is opening like 2 base Muto. So what am I going to do on Equilibrium? I'm just going to open up Stargate Phoenix, right? Every game, you know, or something, right? It could be like on every game on Oceanborn, they're doing like a Roach Ravager rush. You know, I'm like losing a lot of Roach Ravager rushes, you know, and I'm losing them all on Asaloni or whatever. But I'm not getting Roach Ravager rushes on any other map. So on maybe on Asaloni, we'll watch those Roach Ravager rushes. We'll see, like, if I see fast pool gas on Asaloni, I'm gonna just assume it's a Roach Ravager rush and not a Baneley bust or something else like that, because it seems to be the case that the only time I play against a strategy is on this map, right, or on these maps. And if I get tricked, and I'll just assume that, right? I'm just going to assume that every time I see this opening on these maps, it's Roach Ravager Rush. And then when I come across games that I lose because I assume Roach Ravager Rush, and it was not, it was something else, but then that becomes another data point. So then the thing I want to care about is how often is it not a Roach Ravager Rush? And, you know, and how can I differentiate these two on scouting, right? Like, how can I figure out how to prepare for them? And maybe it's the case that 75% of the time is Roach Ravager Rush, 25% of the time is something completely different. You lose against both of them, but if you assume it's Roach Ravager Rush, you now win 75% of those games, and you just take the 25% loss, right? Because you just hedge you always just hedge your bet or your metagaming to the most common strategies, and that's just automatically going to give you more win percentages, right? So instead of 100% losing to this opening, we're now winning 75% of the time, and we only get this opening maybe 10% of the time, right? So that's kind of how you want to treat these interactions. Like, you don't want to like stop doing a build order because you lose to it 10% of the time, right? It's if it can win you 90% of your games, why are you going to give up on it? Why are you going to lose confidence in it? Because that 10% chance that somebody does that one build, right? Especially when you can start looking for patterns in that one build and stuff. So we have a Terran player named Reaper. Very interesting. So go ahead and make, I can kind of make my pylon here. And that's kind of like having a more analytical thought pattern in these kind of games like Dota, League, any game that makes you upset from losing. Just being more analytical about things make losing, sometimes it can make losing a lot more fun, right? So I'm just going to click on the minimap to send him away. I'm going to make my building. I'm going to queue up a probe. And then I'm going to select this guy and perform my scouting pattern. And then I can get back to here and be relatively confident I didn't mess up my probes. So I kind of set up a situation where I know there's like a delay where I'm waiting to build my next building, because the next building my builder is a Cybercore. So I make sure, you know, I have enough money to queue up an extra probe. I'm waiting on another build. During this idle time is when I'm sending my probe to go, you know, have a more advanced scout. You know, I'm gonna look in his base. Maybe make sure I'm gonna do this. You know, next thing I want to build is my Nexus. I queue up a probe. While he's traveling to make my Nexus, I'm gonna take a little peek. I see it's one gas, right? And then we're back here. And I make this. So I'm kind of looking for gaps in my build order that allow me time to do like scouting or something, right? Yeah, we can also do a little scout around our minerals, right? Selecting my Nexus, make sure I'm building probes. There's no bunker being made back here, so we can just, you know, continue. I want to make the Stalker, so we'll chrono boost that Stalker. Make sure these probes are in the gas. Select the warp tech research, right? Then want to hide the rest of our probes in our base. You know, just so that we can protect them against the Reaper. Right. Hit that with another chrono boost. And we can bring this guy down while this guy comes out to help support. And we want to make this shield battery. My shield battery is a little bit late, but you know, so the only weakness here is if you try to do like some sort of weird timing. We'll make sure there's no Reaper back here. Right. We guard the Reaper jump in, we guard over here. We can go ahead and start making our tech. I would say it is dangerous to build your robo down here because any kind of early pressure and all-ins. So it is important you make the backup pylon. It's always important to make this backup pylon down here. You know, and then he comes in. We'll go ahead and make our pylon behind here. Right. Not too worried about killing the Reaper. Oh, he can keep it alive. Not gonna be the end of the world for us. Now it may be tempting to make more pylons, but we have plenty of pylons, and making any more pylons is gonna slow us down. So we're just gonna go ahead, keep making our probes. I'm at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? So we kind of want to make do with what we got. Go ahead, make a couple of these guys, right? Make 2 gateways. Queue up my next unit. Make a couple more gateways. So we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gateways. 6 gateways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 6 gateways. And then why not 7, 8 gateways, right? And get this Roar Prism. Remember, we're doing a robo attack timing, so it's important that our robo is what's always being chrono boosted. We can go ahead and make our 3 pylons. Make a couple sentries. Make a zealot. maybe pre-make this guy. Make our tech of choice. This can be anything. Twilight Archives, DTs. It could be Robo for Colossus. It's kind of any tech that you want to fall back on. The advantage of DTs and Templar is that you can continue the attack with them. If you're going Colossus, then you're basically dropping an attack for potentially later, right? So like later is when we're planning on having our trouble, or later, you know. Like he's just setting this out here. We'll bring these back to our army, keep our army clumped up. Then he sent that Liberator, so we'll just maybe pop a couple of things over here. We're not really warping in our Archons just yet, because we'll just put all these guys on minerals. Yeah, because we didn't have a whole lot of gas for it. So he brought this over, which is fine. He's trying to do more damage. Bring these guys back a tiny bit. The game. And that's kind of why I want to have you guys build up, at least up until Diamond 3 or so. Like, getting used to just moving your army and not looking at it. Because then, like, if you're used to not having to look at and micro your army a whole lot, it kind of helps you to learn to, like, look at the mini-map, see that, you know, okay, I took some damage in my mineral line. Because one of the biggest troubles that a lot of people in the lower leagues run into is to be so focused on attacking that if the opponent drops like 2 turrets from the Raven, all his probes in his natural are dead, or her probes or their probes. All the probes in the natural are dead, right? Or if they siege up 1 Liberator while you're attacking, all the probes in your main are dead, right? Because you're so focused on attacking that you never really look at the mini map, you know. So Win versus Raven, Lib, Harass. Win, Raven, Lib. And if you're having trouble like defending harassment, you know, that's 2 base all-in is also for you. Because you saw, like, you know, you can kill probes, right? We can kill him. So one of the disadvantages for rushing out things like Ravens and Liberators is that's less army at home to defend, right? So while he's killing probes, I'm making and killing units. You know? So it's kind of the main thing is, you know, we want to be able to look at our army, but also know when to not look at our army. You know, it like probably like the ability to like train and always kind of like look at the mini map, look at your stuff, look at the mini map. You can make mantras like look at the mini map, look at my stuff, look at the mini map, look at my stuff, look at the mini map, like, you know, just like make probes, make probes, make probes. Like you may sound like you're going insane, but saying it out loud, thinking it, you know, playing music without lyrics, so that way you can build these habits, right? Make it muscle memory for yourself to like look at the mini map, to look at probes, look at the clock, right? Yeah. Like I make a probe, you know, everything's good. I look at the mini map. Do I see anything? Do I see like a little drone or something? I look over here. I look over here, right? I put this guy here. I look at this. I saw the overlord, right? Maybe every time, you know, on this map, when I go in the gas, you know, there's an overlord over here or something, right? I look over here. I see the hatchery. This probe is coming down, right? Nothing else is going on. I look over here. Like, do I see the spawning pool? Yeah, I make this. I look over here. I see like a spawning pool. Do I see any gas? I see one gas, right? I come over. I make my one thing over here. I bring them back up here, right? I take a look. I see like another overlord floating out, right? I don't even have to look over here to kind of know what's going on. Maybe I'll take a quick peek to see like, okay, this looks like about halfway done. It doesn't look like it's more than halfway done, so I don't need to make a zealot, right? Just try and get used to like, what does a half done spawning pool roughly look like, right? If it's half done or more by the time you scout after gateway, then you're gonna need to like make a zealot. You can always make the zealot and cancel it, because usually Zerglings will show up about now if it was built early. Like, we'll go ahead and do this full wall. It's a little early, you know, at high levels you can optimize this a little bit later, but you know, we're not high level, so and we're not, you know, the main reason is if you're going for a really fast Stargate, you cannot afford this and a Stargate at roughly the same time. And you don't really need this finish until they have Ling speed anyway. If they run Lings to your base, you can defend with one unit. We'll go ahead and build this thing. We're just being safe here. Right. Like obviously I could have built a robot to have a little bit faster of attack timing, but you know, we don't need the fastest possible attack time. We're hitting a really strong attack timing anyway. Like this build, like the way it is right now, I can take games off of some low tier grandmasters, which I am a low tier grandmaster myself, so or I can be a low tier grandmaster myself, we'll say. But I probably am not right now, but we'll find out. Well, I guess it depends what the MMR reach. MMR is 4.7, I think. Yeah, no problem. Alright, just kind of looking, look at the mini map, you know. I think I forgot to make my Twilight Council. Sure, whatever. We'll hit that with maybe an extra chrono boost to make up for it. Like, the most important tech structure is whatever your build order revolves around. That's the tech that you cannot mess up on, right? That's the tech that's the most important. And this guy will be a little buddy. A little gateway buddy, right? And we know that we can only afford 2 gateways, and then we can chrono boost this. Build a gateway here. We can build this guy here. We'll hit that with the chrono. Build 2 more gateways. Right. We'll hit this guy with the chrono. We'll hit 2 more gateways. We'll come back here, like the warp prism. You know, that's kind of like, these are things you want to look for in builds. It's okay, 2 gateways, immortal. 2 gateways, immortal. 2 gateways, you know. This, even though it might be nice to build all the gateways at once, there's a little bit later, we'll hit that with 1 chrono. You want to try and like squeeze in gateways as fast as possible, because if he attacks me right now, I have these 2 gateways, right? If I would have waited to build them all, and he attacks me right now, I'm like waiting all of this time for those gateways to finish, right? We'll go ahead and hit this, and we can move out, right? And we'll go ahead and build a little gas, because we know we're going to eventually run out of minerals. We can go to our nice little staging area over here. Since this is going to run out of minerals pretty soon, we can probably put these guys here. We can bring our observer. We did our big and root warp ins. That means we're going to do 3 pylons. So now we don't have to worry about pylons for our Tyrant attack. And then we'll just kind of warp in units until we can we gather our forces. We have enough to make an Archon. He's coming to attack me. We'll bring these guys back. Keep our army together. As Protoss, you always want to keep your army together. Right? Because when he comes forward, that's what allows you to be able to get some nice force fields. As we pulled back, he came forward, and we were able to get pretty close to that Roach army, right? Right, and then we don't also want to get kited to death, right? So we'll pull back a little bit, regroup. He's going obviously for Mutas, trying really hard to kill our anti-air. And we pretty much caught him with his pants down a little bit. We'll pull back and regroup. He's trying to out-micro us. We'll pull back and regroup. He's doing some pretty good focus firing. Alright, we need to pull back and regroup. You know, we don't want to get stretched too thin. We can kill some of this creep. It makes it harder for him to micro. He comes into us. You can like bring this up and down. Right? Obviously he's focus firing these. You know, because the real power of our attack is going to be inside these Archons. And now we might be tempted to chase him, but you know, we already have a large army. We just keep the army advantage, right? Right now, 100% we have the army advantage. He can't outproduce us. And with these Archons balling up, our army is just becoming much better quality over time. So we just need to make sure we have enough Zealots to keep our DPS alive, and we want to buy time for our barrier to get off cooldown. So if he comes in and damages it again, right? So, you know, maybe find a good spot for a force field. Maybe pull back, keep these guys together. Boom. You know, these guys are running rapid, come from behind, and now we have a nice flank, right? And we warp in some more. Alright, we can pull back. We've done quite a bit of economic damage. He's still making mutas for some reason. We can warp in a couple of force fields. Right. Bring this guy back. Hopefully it's not microing too hard. We just bring our army back, warp in some more. Maybe we can plop this guy down over here. So, in the event that he might be able to defend, we can try and see if we can take out a little bit of his base. We already killed a bunch of drones over here. Right? What about this? Let's get this over here. Yeah, so this could be maybe not the greatest. We lost all of our heavy tech units, so maybe this move wasn't the greatest move in the world. You know. Looks like he probably will defend, huh? Okay. Yeah. I guess bringing the army up here was probably not the right move, but all right. That's fine. We'll go and remake some immortals. We'll send some guys down here to mine some minerals. We'll just kind of keep making an army here. We need to rebuild our firepower. We'll bring these guys over here. And we'll go ahead and make one more expansion. To continue because our mineral fields are falling apart. We'll go ahead and make another gas. A couple more here. You know, is he really making an army? Probably not. And maybe I'll make a couple more probes. Put a couple guys on gas here. Right? So we're just kind of transitioning into another all-in. Alright, wait for these Archons here. Is he prepared for round 2? So we just kind of fixed our economy a little bit. Everything looking pretty good over here. Making some mutas. We'll go and attack. Right. I'll get this guy in here for sure. Now this could be a base trade. Right? No? Oh, okay, we ended up winning this one. Yeah, I think sending the army around the top exposed our strong army, like the Immortals and Archons, to being able to have the roaches jump on top of them. So this kind of hopefully that shows how important it is to keep Zealots on top of those. Have your Zealots buffer and protect your Immortals and stuff. But we win. Strong Zerg Roach Muta. Yeah, this was a pretty hard game. Technically, you know, if I was, I probably should have lost this one. I feel like maybe I cheated a little bit and played at maybe a little bit too. I'll let you guys decide. Did I try too hard to win that one? Should I have held back a little bit more? Or does that gameplay still look doable, right? Because my goal is, like, if the gameplay looks like something that you can do at the Diamond 3 level, then I've succeeded. If anything I did looked like it's a little bit too strong, maybe not a Diamond 3, then I have failed in that game. So hopefully I've succeeded. The gameplay still looks doable at the Diamond 3 level. Yeah. I think we found the MMR where all the Zergs live. There is a healthy amount of Zergs at Diamond 3, Lat 1. I'm pretty happy and shocked. I got 3 viewers. 3 people tuned in right away too. Very flattered. So really hoping that, oh man, we totally messed up this, huh? Well, so we make this, we queue up another guy, we see a drone, we'll bring him back. So usually at the higher levels, this is going to be an actual hatchery. Alright, so in this case, we'll bring 5, and for you guys, I want you guys to bring 6, alright? Usually it's 5, but I want you guys to bring 6 just to be extra a little bit safe, right? Because the skill different, or the optimization with this is not going to be at a level where that's going to matter too much. We'll go ahead and continue the... where do I want to put this? I guess there's really no good spot to put it, huh? The level optimization, we're just going to continue our build, right? If I can't place the Nexus, so we'll just go and build an extra pylon, right? Just kind of hoping to delay us, right? That's fine. The most important thing is to not get supply blocked and to continue to build probes. Because this is not free. He lost 100 minerals, he's going to lose more minerals, right? It might be tempted to get this extra gas, but you don't have to. We'll go ahead and chase him until we get this placed. He's hoping that you panic, and we are not going to panic. Everybody in gas. Now we can cut probes to get our second gas. You know, we're at a nice 20. We start making probes again. Right? We can go ahead and make our adept, which I'm a little bit late at. We can go ahead and get our full wall off. Like this and like this. Now, one thing that is you need to go up to a 3rd pylon, because usually what unsupply blocks you is going to be this Nexus, but this Nexus is late, so a lot of low players are going to get bamboozled by not making this extra pylon. And then, you know, just so we don't have to worry about it later, we'll transfer 3 of these guys. And then because I messed up and this pylon is a vulnerability, we're gonna layer, in case a Baleen bus comes here, we're gonna backup wall. And I think in this situation, what I'm gonna want to do is kind of use these 2 together to maybe absorb some Baleens, something like that. And then we just kind of go back into our build order, just nice and comfortably, as if nothing happened. Right? Need to make my extra pylon. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make our 2 pylons. Okay. This is in range of the shield battery, and we can always kind of pull him back like this if Zerglings come in. But you can also leave it like this, and if you ever, like, you know, if you're afraid of Banelings, keep these guys separate. I'll go ahead and Chrono Boost our Immortal. We only need 2 more rounds, so this round of probes and 1 more round of probes, and we're done with probes. Yeah, with the Chrono. Maybe go and kill this guy. Excuse me. Might have to get a drink of water after this. And we just kind of go up to our, oh man, go up to our 8 gateways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Maybe throw 1 back here in case of mutas again. 7, 8. Make our Warp Prism. Make our 2 sentries to get up that energy for Guardian Shields and Force Fields. We'll get up our 3 pylons to try and give us backup coverage, so there's no like Artosis pylons going on here. We'll grab our 1 gas. Right, we got everything, so we'll just take this, guys. Do a little bit of a warp-see-do. He knows what's coming. He'll start making units. We'll head up to like a good staging area. Maybe over here. We'll try to go through his third base. And we can just go and take 2 probes and put it here. Did I make the follow-on tech? Go ahead and make that follow-on tech. Go a nice big warp in. And since we already have a lot of supply, we'll just go ahead and we can't really afford it, we'll just make 2 pylons here. Then we'll come and attack. Nothing here. Okay, cool. We'll bring our dude over here. We'll just come down. And hit our whatever. You could probably get on top of these Ravengers and take them out. We'll leave only a handful of zealots behind, and then we just want to come from this angle. Right. If you want to be extra nasty, we can force field this ramp, but it won't be too nasty. We can always send a couple of these guys back over here. Alright, good game. Cheesers never prosper. Like, anytime you're being like engineer bay blocked or hatch blocked, just keep making probes, keep making pylons. They have to sacrifice something to do what they're doing. Right? And as long as you keep making probes, as long as you keep making pylons, and you expand eventually, you're never going to be in that bad a shape. Make sure your tech comes down rather quickly, so you can still hit your timings. You know, you may be delayed a little bit, but even if you're delayed a little bit, remember they are delayed a little bit. So if you're delayed 10 seconds and they're delayed 10 seconds or more, maybe they're hurting themselves and you're all in. It's going to be even more strong than it should be, you know? But this was a PVZ win hatch block save. So that's how easy it is to get to Diamond 2. Hopefully it looked easy. But like what we've been harping on since the beginning of the series is you just need to have one build order per matchup. It works even great if the build order is basically the same in every matchup, you know, minus a little bit of individual tweaks. A Zerg player named Zerg, huh? And then you just practice that build order until you're like a master at it, until you're a god, until you can do it while not even thinking, right? Everything like just feels right. Because because all a build order does is it gives you the tools to win with. And it's up to you to refine, like, and that's where you want to be. You want to be at the point where you have the tools to win. And then all you have to practice is how to use those tools, right? I don't really need to scout him because, you know, what's he doing? He's got this dude over here just trying to delay me. Bring an extra guy over. And I'm just gonna keep making probes because he wants to delay me, right? Then I'll just cancel the probe because he's gone. And we'll just keep chasing him. Is he gonna make a hatchery somewhere? So we made one extra probe, but that doesn't matter. Means we'll have maybe a little bit more gas. Right? we'll go ahead and continue our build. Make our backup pylon back here. Alright, so it is gonna be a cheese perhaps. So I'll make a zealot and give this guy a chrono boost. Then we'll come over here. We want to wall off fairly quickly. And we'll bring a bunch of probes down. And we're going to make this backup pylon fairly fast. Oh. We'll get this full wall. Oh. Get this shield battery. So this could be a very interesting game. Cancel. We're gonna need a lot more shield batteries. Ooh, we'll probably lose this one. Well, maybe a little bit too casual of defense. That hatchery though is really messing with the AI. Okay, cool, good game. Yeah. EVD, loss. Some weird, we'll say weird proxy hatch. And we're not even mad, right? Who cares that we lost to a weird proxy hatch? Like, this is like, when was the last time we saw like a weird proxy hatch rush? Let's see, we had a proxy hatch block, right? We had proxy hatch way down here, right? Like a proxy hatch, we're not even 100% loss against, right? Yeah, and this one is the first time we've ever seen that, right? Might be the only time we ever see it, right? So no need to get upset about one loss. Like, look at this, like, you know, we lost plenty of times, but we're winning a hell of a lot more than we're losing. And that's all that matters, right? If you really don't want to play that same person again, after game, just open up chat, wait for him to queue into another game, and then you queue, right? You can actively dodge the person. Or, what's more beneficial to you is see if that person will be your friend, so you can practice against it, right? Rather than calling that person like a no-skill loser, right? Like, oh, you cheesy loser, you'll never get better at the game. That's not what you say to that person. You say, hey man, that was pretty cool. Can you help me get better at the game? Like, can you practice with me until I beat that or whatever? That's a suspiciously fast. It's gonna steal my gas. Just take one gas, whatever. And we'll just put one probe on just to slowly DPS it. I'm not even worried that he took my gas. He can have it. You know, we'll just put one probe on so we slowly kill it, but we see, you know, he's going 2 gas, doing some weird stuff over here. And then we're just gonna put guys on gas right away to minimize the damage that this is doing to us. Normally you slowly put guys on, but we'll just do it right away. But everything else is just going to be the same. We'll just continue our build order. And then we'll just rally more guys to gas over here. Actually, I want to make my second pylon. We'll just take out that gas. Don't let this stuff get in your head. Don't let this like upset you, right? You know, he had to sacrifice a probe to come really early to get this, right? So he has like not the greatest mineral income in the world. Right, you already have the mineral advantage. 1, 2, and grab this. Right, 3 guys here, 2 guys down there. We'll go ahead and make our pylon. Just very relaxed. Right? Not even trying to optimize the mineral stuff we can get here. We can't afford our 2 sentries like we normally would, so we'll just make 2 adepts. No problem. We'll go ahead and make the shield battery pretty quickly, in case he wants to pressure us. And then we got enough probes, so we'll cut to make our next side. Monkey's got these, so we'll just bring our adepts in. Right. We have a bunch of extra probes, so we'll just put these guys back on. Bam. And we'll make our nexus. We want adepts, so we'll go ahead and make our shield battery. In case the oracles come by. Just go ahead and keep on with our build. We'll drop a chrono boost over here because he did kill some probes. I also need to make a pylon because I noticed that we're getting supply blocked a little bit. I'm just kind of looking, making sure everything looks alright. We'll make a second pylon because we'll be making immortals soon. Just checking my status. You know, we don't see much going on. Not even gonna try and get revenge damage with these guys, because I'm just that confident that our build order is gonna be better than his build order. We'll make a couple sentries so we can get some scouting in there. You can see like that extra pylon I made came in handy because we would have been supply blocked without it. Right? But everything's looking pretty good. And he'd even make the oracles. So we'll just make an observer. If you're afraid of DTs, you know, you can always go like this, and the DTs cannot get into your base, right? And then we'll start going towards our stuff. Adding on gateways. These are the last set of probes I need to make. Hit this with another chrono boost. We'll make a couple more of these guys. Could probably make 2 more before we need to make that warp prism. If you don't know, just try. Just try, because you can always just wait for the chrono boost. Like, you know, just wait a couple seconds and then I'll chrono boost, right? You know, no DTs ever showed up, so that's fine. Hotkey here. We'll warp in a couple of zealots. We'll go ahead and make these guys. We'll make our Templar tech. We'll go ahead and make this extra gas. We know we'll eventually start losing minerals here, so we'll put 2 guys there. In preparation, we'll just do it ahead of time, so I don't have to worry about it. Right? Do a nice little warp in while we're running across the map. Find oh. He's coming from our Warp Prism. We warp in a couple of these guys. Keep warping in a bunch of these guys. You know? And just kind of 1A to victory. He really, if he's gonna blink in like that, it's probably better to go for it. Not even a focus fire. We'll tank the entire shield battery overcharge. And bring this a little closer. It's Dr. Intelligent for you. With my APM. My APM still lower than the opponent. This is a personal win. If I can win with my APM being less than the opponent, I'm personally happy. PvP, win, like gas, steel. So this is especially a good strategy against people who steal your gas, because looks like what he was probably, in his mind, Dr. Intelligent was probably thinking, if he can get the gas advantage, then not only can he get blink faster than us, he can probably have more stalkers than us. Or have at least equal stalkers to us, but with like an additional upgrade, like +1 or something. And what did we do? We just said, well, fine. Well, basically, what our strategy? Our strategy is pretty much like, we don't care about gas anyway. Yeah, because we're making zealots. So, zealots don't cost gas. And, you know, if you want to play faster, you know, you could easily pick up both Immortals, do like a little bit of Immortal Micro. That's kind of why at the higher levels you see higher level players opt to like try to kill the Warp Prism over Immortals. Like they'll try to kill the Warp Prism first, because what it does with any kind of all-in or kill or attack from Protoss is a Protoss can only kill you if they have a Warp Prism, unless they're massively ahead already, right? So if you shut down the Warp Prism, then usually you can survive the attack, right? The opponent did not shut down the Warp Prism, so they could not stop the attack. There's been plenty of games where like the opponent will kill my Warp Prism and I just go home. It's like it's not even worth attempting to attack if I don't have a Warp Prism. And the reason for that is because Protoss, over the course of many balance patches and expansions, have been balanced around the strength of the Warp Prism to the point where typically without the Warp Prism, because it's such a huge power spike, that without the Warp Prism, you know, any attack you do as Protoss is gonna be a lot more difficult, because you kind of need the Warp Prism Micro, you need that reinforcements. And it kind of has to be like that because of how strong the Warp Prism is. Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too much right now, but so it's kind of by design. That's also why you want to make sure you protect the Warp Prism. Like we keep our, we kind of keep our Warp Prism a little bit further back. Try to put in spots where it's hard for them to jump on, and if they do want to jump on the Warp Prism, we hope to gain as much of an advantage as possible, like kill as many units as possible. So we see that this is definitely not halfway, so we don't need to worry about making a zealot. This guy's coming in, not too bad. Like, I'm not even worried about Stargate openers right now. I wouldn't even worry about Stargate opens until like at least some period of time into the Masters League, because it's just too much micro. It just Stargate takes too much of your focus away, that it's just too easy to mess up your build orders um, because of Stargate. So I don't want anything to get in the way of my build order and my ability to practice build orders. I'm not even trying to get baited by this guy over here, you know, I don't even care. Right? So this is a slightly more optimized build order with a slightly more technically defensive opener, because we're getting the shield battery instead of the gateway. This is just kind of a slight variation if you're feeling a little bit more brave. 3 minutes is roughly when speed finishes, so that's kind of roughly when you want to get this gateway down. So if you were worrying about that, and then we can go into Twilight. So potentially this attack time might be perhaps a little faster. You know, he can go ahead and scout this. You know, you can say like, does he know that this Twilight is late? Right? Does he know it's not just late, it's hella late, you know? Because the Robo timing is when the Twilight timing should have gone down. So however long it took me to build this over the Robo is how late that Twilight is. Even attack, he just moved into them. He just tried to like move into me. Like, there's not even a scratch on the shields of my Stalker, right? We don't need any more, so we'll go ahead and cancel one. And we'll start adding our pylons. Or not pylons, but our gateways, right? Just kind of looking, making sure everything looks alright. Check my front. And make sure everything looks alright, right? I dropped 1 chrono on this. I don't think I dropped a chrono on before. We got 2, 4, 6, right? Go ahead and make this. Usually we make the Warp Prism before we make the last 2 gateways, right? We'll go ahead and make the Observer, hit that chrono, go ahead and make 3 pylons, go ahead and make this. Maybe I think I'm a little bit late, about 100. A little bit late on making these. So this probably cost me about 2 force fields, but hopefully we don't need them. Go ahead and do this. Warp in a couple guys. Transfer 2 dudes to this. Go ahead and grab this. Right. Start heading towards my. Oh, get some certain things. Those are definitely not going to help in his defense. Maybe here is a good staging area. Finish my warp in. We'll make 2 pylons. Right. Now that our build's a little bit more optimized, a little bit harder to afford those extra pylons. You know, he's got the Baners. Maybe we can put these guys up and down. Still not going to micro against Banelings because I don't think he has the skill to properly be able to macro behind it. He killed my Warp Prism, so we'll just do some long distance whatevers. Keep these guys with my Zealots. We'll warp in some Archons over here. Okay, so maybe we'll bring these guys back home. So he killed the Warp Prism, so that's why we can't kill him just yet. So we'll just go ahead and rebuild a little bit of our army. Bring an additional guy into gas here. Well, that was pretty good by him. He's coming for the counterattack, sacrificing the precious little army supply he has. Because his style of defense is very larva intensive. So the question is, does he have the macro? to be able to actually afford it? I would say at this level the answer is no. Right. We don't think he has it. Not even trying to micro the bait against the Banelings. I don't think we need to. Did I kill the whatever? We can come over here to be more on top of the larva when it pops. The Zerglings when they pop. Yum yum, Zergling. Very larva intensive. Oh. Pop, pop, pop. Love all of my... He focused by the Archon, which is pretty baller. Pretty good. Keep our army together. As Protoss, that's the main thing. You always want to keep your army together. Just click on that. Maybe we can bring this a little bit closer. Damn, okay, so this is his way of getting around the fact that he has bad macro, is he just made extra hatcheries to make up for the larva. The larva cost. Again. So this is what I would not recommend as a Zerg player. Like, first of all, like defending with Banelings and Zerglings is too high level for Diamond 3. Okay, and you should, and especially if your way of making sure that you can afford the larva for it is to produce extra hatcheries in your main base, like macro hatcheries. This is not what pro players do. This is not how you should defend. Like the low level, like Diamond 2, Diamond 3 Zerg strategies should be like, if I was gonna do a speed run of Zerg, I'd probably just do Roach Hydra to GM, right? Just Roach Hydra, go into Lurkers, get Viper, right? That'd probably be all of the army I would ever make. You know, obviously some Zerglings here there is a mineral dump, but it'd be like Roach Hydra, Zergling, Viper. If I ever had to go to late game, it'd be like with Vipers, Lurkers, Banelings. But the main Lurker Baneling thing would, I mean the Zergling Baneling would be more like the mid to late game composition. I would have never tried to defend early game with Zergling Banelings. Maybe CVT. I don't have a lot of Zerg experience, so I wouldn't know if ZVT. You might have no choice, but like I watched Sarah do Roach Ravager against Zerg. I don't know if Roach Ravager is harder to pull off against Terran than Zergling Baneling, so that I don't know. But I would probably try to go Roach Hydra against Terran. And just went off a strong macro. Roach Hydra, Lurker, stuff like that. So yeah, it just really depends. Alright, we'll play one more game. And that should conclude tonight. You know. Yeah, it's still a pretty good record, right? Even though there's a few strategies that smashed us, right? It's not a clean. We have losses pretty much at all ranks, but like the main theme is like, don't get worked up. Don't get worked up over your losses. You have a strong build order, just doing the same thing. You know, eventually you're gonna move up the ladder through the strength of your fundamentals, through the strength of your build order. Right? Build order is king. That's like the easiest skill for you to develop because you can practice it literally against an AI. And the build order is the most powerful fundamental. It's like you can't win if you can't produce an army, right? All right, well, this game didn't count. Alright, what was this guy? This guy was PBZ Win Lane Bane. This guy was PB, or this was Free Win. Don't count. Alright, already exists. So I guess with Free Win, don't count games, we can overwrite it, but I won't. Just so I can see how many free wins I got. Like the only like what I've been waiting for, and what I will continue to technically wait for, is I want to lose like 5 games in a row to the same race with my build order against like the same thing. Then, like if 5 is a nice good number, so if I lose 5 times against the same race, doing the same thing against the same thing, then I'll revise my build order. I'll figure like how can I make it better, what can I scout to change, right? Oh damn, sorry, I split my probes. Yeah, whenever I'm daydreaming, like my muscle memory kicks in, I just start like splitting probes, and that's kind of where you want to be. So you want to practice something so often that the muscle memory like takes over, and if you're not actively trying to stop yourself from doing something, like you automatically do it, and hopefully the thing that you're doing is correct, like a good habit, right? So we're still, you know, make a gas, make a probe, make a building, make a probe, make a pylon, make a probe, make a gateway, make a probe, make a gas, make a probe, right? That's kind of the mantra we've been doing this whole time. If you've seen previous videos, you know, like we could take a look, we see something weird going on here. Like realistically, like his build order is garbage. Unless he's like proxying something on my side of the map. So it's like we'll say higher, not high level player. Oh man, I messed up my builder too. As a higher level player, like the first thing that I think of when I see this kind of weird shit is immediately I think there's a proxy, there's something proxied on the map. There is no way somebody is this bad at the game, but we're in Diamond 2, right? So I can't always say that. But you know, I'm thinking there's gotta be like something proxy on the map. Because I'd rather assume that my opponent is really good at the game and is trying to proxy than assume my opponent's bad. Because if I assume my opponent's good and play normal, then I'll be prepared. Right? If I just assume he's bad and just try to like, you know, relax a little bit, then that's where you can get caught with your pants down, right? Go ahead and make the shield battery right away. The last thing I want is to get caught with my pants down. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make a couple sentries because sentries don't cost minerals. You know, and then this is 19, so after 20, so we're here at 20 now. That's where I'm cutting probes. And this is a safe opener, right? So we're hurting macro-wise to do this, but... And then I'm cutting probes to make 1 pylon, right? And then I can start probe production again. put this guy here. I'll make and then if you're not sure, we'll just build a rope up here, right? If you're not sure there's aggression, you don't have to. It's greedy. It's always greedy to build any attack down here. So, and go ahead and make our Twilight. Eventually, someone's gonna have to like 3-gate us, so we can just die. He's coming to attack us. Remake the shield battery in this situation, and remake the backup pylon. And always click on the weak stalker, as you might be able to. Oh man. Oh, didn't even click on my stuff. So it is. What is that here? Oh no. That was a proxy. Oh man, I can't even click properly. We probably could have defended this too if we didn't mess up. Bury everybody in the gas, or everybody in the middles, because we don't actually need gas anymore. We just want to keep. We're not gonna make any more. We want to keep our Nexus alive. We've got some good focus firing. Wait until this gets off cooldown. Ooh, yeah. Alright, well, we kind of messed up the defense, but it's alright. Kind of hoping for this attack. So, we can't really afford charge, huh? Alright, cool. Okay. Well done. I'll play one more game. We were a little too casual that game. PvP loss. And this was like almost certainly proxy gateway. There we go. 100% we could have defended that, but made some misclicks, and we're just a little bit slow on rebuilding the pylons and stuff. But you know, like I said, we don't care that we lose, right? This is like the first time in our life on this account or in this little speed run that we've fought against the proxy gate, right? So there's no reason for anyone to like hate PvP or be upset. We even get the same guy, right? But like as a Protoss player though, you want to always have that, you want to try to build the habit that if somebody is attacking you, Zerg, Protoss, or Terran, with like a rush or putting pressure on you, like you want to have the habit of being like, I need to make pylons and shield batteries, right? Like technically, like the best response is like when we saw more than 4 stalkers, we should have started shield batteries much sooner. We should. That way, hopefully, they would be done in time, right? Then you always want to start the shield battery first, and then maybe the backup pylon, depending on how well you think you can defend your forward pylon, right? So nobody's taking any gas today. Like, we can believe that this is a cannon rush. There's another reason why you want to scout after. Is if anyone makes more than like 2 pylons, it's gonna be, or if anyone makes 2 pylons, it's definitely a cannon rush. We'll bring some guys down here. Try to get some guys on top. We'll bring some guys over here. It's about 3 dudes to a cannon. Send this guy down here. Let's just keep making probes. Alright, everything's dead. Get back on the minerals as soon as possible. Get guys on the gas. Right. And I'd say, you know, for Diamond, he definitely knows how to cannon rush. Because he definitely made the gateway. So you can always tell people who technically know how to cannon rush versus those who don't. Because this follow-on gateway is too late for people who don't know how to cannon rush. And then, you know, I'm just going back into my build. Like, my build says we need, like, 3, 3, 16, right? I got somewhat of a pylon I could probably build a shield battery here for. You know, I already have 3 pylons, so kinda we do want this defensive pylon, right? He can take expansion right away if he wants, I don't care. Then we go into our 2 sentries. This guy will take the place of 1 stalker. Right, just keep making probes. Make our shield battery. Not even gonna rush, right? So I'm still making probes over here. I have to have at least as many probes as him. You know, we got all this going on. Maybe we can. Now, if you're ever going to attack these rocks, it's really important that you keep your eyes on the natural, because you don't want him to come and attack you. You know? We'll go ahead and make the shield battery back here. That'll protect this against any oracles. We only want about 20 on here. Robo. We make our Twilight Council. We'll go and see like what his choices. I say kind of go in here, come down to the natural, like what kind of tech or is he after? You know, give this guy kind of front a little bit. Gonna make our two tech pylons, we'll call them, because this stuff is done. Oh. We see no expansion. Right, so we'll go and look for perhaps a proxy expansion. Maybe we'll send this guy up here. Yeah, go ahead and transfer some probes. We'll warp in 2 stalkers for safety, and we'll go for the observer. Because maybe there's a DTs being proxied. Oh, we got something going on here. right? Focus, fire, immortal. Perfect. Yeah, that's why we'll set this in like a nice area. And we'll go ahead and make an additional shield battery. Make a couple zealots. Then we want to start adding on gateways. We want to make sure we have good vision over some stuff. Make another robo. And we'll put like a nice zoning. It's gonna come for these guys, okay. Stop. Good game. The power of a build order. Okay. Whenever they make the pylon on the edge like that, where they can make stuff on the low ground, it becomes really important to try and get 3 or 4 probes to the low ground so they don't fully wall a cannon. And we just barely got our probes on that cannon. So we almost potentially lost that game just because we just barely didn't get our probes down there in time. Cannon, rush into robo. So I consider myself probably one of the top maybe 5 or 10 cannon rush defenders in PvP in North America. But then again, you know, maybe I'm deluding myself. I'm pretty good at it. I would say I'm really good at defending cannon rushes. So maybe someday I can put together like a cannon rush defense tutorial video where I find somebody who's pretty good at cannon rushing, like 5k plus, and I'll just play against them like 10 games where I just kind of explain all the different defenses to different types of cannon rushes. But like the golden rule is 3 probes kills a cannon if you get the probes on the cannon relatively soonish. And the reason it's important is because you want to mine the most amount of minerals possible while being able to defend the cannon rush, because even if they can't win off the cannon rush, if you're using all of your probes to defend, sometimes they can just be ahead even though they've wasted money just because, you know, they have a higher income than you. But alright, thanks for tuning in. We got Diamond 2 today. Next stream, maybe Diamond 1, we'll see. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you think any of the gameplay is not at a Diamond 2 level. I had to derank the account, so we lost on purpose 107 games or 100 games or so. I think it was like 99, but something like that. So let me know if you think the gameplay was maybe too high, or if it's just right, you know. So even this one, nice. Less than the opponent, barely less than the opponent, higher than the opponent. All right, well, that was a free win though. Less than the opponent. Yeah, I think we're doing a pretty good job. All right, you guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to continue. It really depends on my kids or my kid when she goes to bed. But Diamond, next time we'll either be Diamond 1 or we'll get another Diamond 2 to Diamond 1 stream.